Hi, I'm Tara the Foodie, and I'm here to take the mystery out of cooking for you. In today's video, you are going to need one of these. Today, I am going to show you how to make my version of Pizza Hut's personal pan pizza, the old school way. Do you remember, if you're anywhere around our age, which is a little higher than mid-40s, we would go with our parents to Pizza Hut. It would be an event, going to dinner, sitting down, ordering your personal pan pizza, right? Don't touch it, it's too hot, it's sizzling. They give you the spatula and you get to, lift out your own piece of pizza and it's just melting. It's got the crust on the bottom. It was always so good. We get to use the new mixer today, which I'm very excited about. The first part in making pizza dough is feeding your yeast. I've got what we need here. 3 things. You need 1.5 cups of lukewarm water, just barely warm to the touch, because you don't want it to be too hot or it'll kill the yeast. You want to have 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to pour that into the water. And then you want to let your little yeast buddies take a swim. This is 1 tablespoon of yeast. So I'm going to pour that into the sugar water and then just grab a spoon and mix it up a bit so you can combine the sugar and the yeast in the water and they can start to feed, basically. So while the yeast is over here munching away on the sugar, we can get started on putting our ingredients into Little Red here. I don't know what we're gonna call her. You guys, you know what? In the comments below, give us some ideas on what we can call our new KitchenAid mixer. Because our grill is called Dirty Girl. And that, I don't know, just easily came to Joe for whatever reason. But what do we call this little red fire engine? Little firecracker. The first thing that you want to do is add 4.5 cups of flour. And I'll show you what else we have over here that we're working with. We have 1 teaspoon of salt. We have 3 tablespoons of milk powder, which I will talk about that in a moment. And then we have 2 tablespoons of light olive oil, milk powder. This is the first time that I've used milk powder in a pizza dough recipe. But when I was researching how to make a pan pizza dough, everybody's using milk powder. So I'm like, well, what is milk powder? What does that do? So I Googled it. I mean, that's how we find out everything. And it says that milk powder improves crust browning, it adds moisture, and it helps the dough relax. So we would not want a stressed dough. But the first part really made sense to me. It improves the crust browning, and we are going to be making this crust in a hot cast iron pan. And if you remember going to Pizza Hut, sitting down and they bring you out that pizza, that personal pan pizza, and when you take your little individual spatula and you pull up your first piece of pizza, and underneath is that crispy browned crust. Oh, like I'm salivating. You need something to help it brown, right? So if that's going to do that, I'm a fan of the milk powder. Let's go ahead and add this stuff to the mixer. So I'm just going to try and do it and not get it all over the place. So that's what spatch is going to help me with. So 4.5 cups of bread flour if you have it. If not, all-purpose flour will be fine. So then we'll put in this milk powder. And our teaspoon of salt. I'll freaking dump it in. So you have your dough hook attachment on, and then just turn on. Now put it up. There we go. So you just want to mix this up to get all the dry ingredients incorporated. Here is our yeast water, and as you can see, there is like a pillowy, kind of foamy top. So it's foaming up like this because it is eating that sugar. It's called blooming too, by the way. This is blooming your yeast. So we will go ahead and add this to our flour and salt and milk powder. And we're going to turn this back on for a bit before we add our oil so we can get this combined. Just start low. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. If it looks like it's too dry, you can always add just a touch more oil. And I think it does need a little more oil. So I'm going to pop in just a little bit more. And we'll turn this off. It's been 10 minutes. And I'm going
Has it been?
Well, this was kneading for 10 minutes.
How long has it been?
It's been longer. So we had a visitor come over and we were chit-chatting for a while, and it's probably been about 45 minutes.
Yeah, we've been chit-chatting, all right.
But I turned this back on. Yeah, I had a little more of this, and so yay! It's dough time! It's dough time! It's dough time!
This is gold! It's gold! Why are you stopping there? One more time.
I'm gonna pull a muscle.
No,
what do you want me to do now? It's dough time! I'm going to take the dough hook out. Get yourself a large bowl. I'm just going to use the spray, avocado spray. You could use your olive oil or whatnot. You just want to coat the inside of the bowl because we're going to let this dough rise. So I'm just going to spray just a little bit on the inside. And then we will gather the dough. And this has been kneaded for 10 minutes. So you can kind of feel how soft it is. And what you want to do is start to pull it into a ball. So you just kind of pull down like that. And when you get it into a ball like that, just set it into the bowl. And then take that towel and just drape it over your bowl. And then we will just put it aside and it will rise for, it's probably going to be fine in about 45 minutes or so. You can let it rise for about an hour. You want it to, they say double in size. I don't know that it really doubles in size, but it gets a bit bigger and fluffy, very fluffy. So that's what we're looking for. Oh, it's feeling light. That's it. It's gone. Let's go ahead and put together the pizza sauce, which is pretty simple. We are first going to start with just an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I just have the fire on medium right now. That's just been on for about a minute. So that's already warm. We're gonna put a whole can, the small can of the tomato paste in with it. It's gonna be nice and thick. I'm going to stir that up so that it melts with the heat inside the pot. And then we want to add our seasonings. A teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of, I want to say this one's the oregano, a teaspoon of basil, and a teaspoon of salt. And I'm using kosher salt here. Put these all in. Stir it around. And it's going to start smelling like pizza sauce in here right now. And you just want to warm this up. You don't have to cook it very long or anything. And our sauce is done. And now it's time to check on our dough. All right, so let's lift up this towel and see what it looks like. That is a nicely risen dough. I honestly don't know how long it's been. How long do you think it's been?
A long enough time.
I know, right?
The dough has risen.
The dough has risen. Oh. Let's get our trusty cast iron pan. When I tell you that this is important for this recipe, I'm not kidding. A lot of the recipes that I make, I'll say, you could use this instead. You have to use cast iron for this, okay?
No substitute.
Just look, this is a Pizza Hut pan pizza.
Stop right now if you do not have
yes.
a cast
If you
pan.
don't have a cast iron pan, click pause. Then go down to the description of this video and there will be a link for you to click on, and you can buy this very cast iron pan for yourself. And it is not expensive at all. And it does a very nice job. And you need a cast iron pan in your life anyway. If you are starting out cooking, if you have been cooking for a million years, you need a cast iron pan. A couple things that you need to know about your cast iron pan. You never wash it with soap. That sounds weird, right? Like, ew. But you never wash it with soap. You wash it with very, very, very hot water and just scrape everything off of it. Once it's clean, there's no food on it, and it's been sterilized with your hot water, then you take oil. I like to use olive oil. You take an oil and you put, a little bit in it, swirl it around. You could use a paper towel to kind of move it around, even kind of coat the outside of it, and then just put it inside your oven or wherever you're going to keep the pan, but leave it like that. That's why this is kind of shiny. That's what they call seasoning a cast iron pan. It keeps it nice. It's kind of like the nonstick before there was nonstick. Things will create a crust on it. Things will brown nicely on it. If you heat up the pan enough before you put your food in it, it's really not going to stick. It's a great pan to have. And for this reason, for this recipe especially, we want to put this dough into this cast iron pan and really get that brown crust on the bottom of the pizza that we all remember from Pizza Hut back in the day. So we have our oven preheating to 475, and we are going to take this dough now and divide it into 3 dough balls. So we'll take each ball of dough and make it into its own little ball first. Just pulling down, pulling down, pulling down, and tucking it under. So now we got 3 dough balls, and we are going to put one of them in here. So take your cast iron pan, and you want to put 1 tablespoon, coating the pan. It might be up to 2 tablespoons or so. You want to really coat the bottom of the pan, get the sides, and it'll seem a little bit like it's too much oil, but you want it to brown on the bottom. And it's going into a pretty hot oven, so you want that oil at the bottom. Now, you want to take your dough ball and start to press it out and stretch it out so that we can place it into this pan. Set it down into the pan and start to press it out to fill the pan and go up the sides a little bit. Good. Now it's time to put on our sauce. So you can grab the sauce. Let's take enough to spread. I mean, you're basically taking 1/3 of it, but honestly, just eyeball how much sauce you want. And take it to the edge as much as you can. It smells so herby. That's a good sauce too. It's just salty enough. You can taste the oregano and the basil and the garlic. I mean, it was so super easy to make. It's so good. Meat chips. Meat chips. You want a meat chip, babe? I'm gonna have a couple. So then, obviously, for toppings, you can use whatever you want. We're gonna do a classic pepperoni pizza. We're just adding our mozzarella cheese. Next, you put on as much as you want. I like a lot of cheese. And then you want to take your meat chips or pepperonis. Some people call them pepperonis, and put them on your pizza. And don't skimp. Right to the edge. Moment of truth. We are going to put it in the oven. It's a 475-degree oven. We are going to check it at 10 minutes. It could go up to 15. You really just want to check it, and you're looking for the edges of the crust to be nice and golden brown, your toppings to be bubbling, a little tiny bit of a golden brown on the cheese. Let's pop it in. While the pizza is in the oven, there's one last little thing that we need to do, and this is gonna put it over the top. What we're gonna do is we take like about a tablespoon or so of butter, and then you wanna make your Parmesan herb mix. It's basically 3 parts of Parmesan cheese and then 1 part of garlic powder, oregano, and basil. So so a teaspoon and a half of Parmesan. And I use this because I thought, why shred Parmesan cheese when this is just going to be mixed in butter and spread on a pizza? I think this is actually a really good use of this type of Parmesan cheese. So half teaspoon of garlic powder, half teaspoon of basil, half teaspoon of oregano, and the teaspoon and a half of the Parmesan cheese. I'm going to take this, pop it in the microwave just long enough to melt it. All right, 30 seconds was the winner. So we've got melted butter. Take your Parmesan and your herbs and just stir them up. And then add it to your butter. Oh, you have to smell this, seriously. Smell that.
Whoa.
I know.
What?
Ooh, that is going to be brushed on the crust of this pizza. How could this be bad? I know.
What?
I know. Oh, look at that. Now we see bubbling. We see a nice browned crust, but not too brown. Look at that. Nice and puffed up. Oh yeah, I believe this is done. And here we have a perfectly prepared pan pizza. I just want to take this and peek at the bottom of this. Oh yeah. This is really giving me Pizza Hut pan pizza vibes for sure. I'm excited. Now, what we have to do, we have to spread this on, this gloriousness. So take this and do you hear the sizzling? This is the sizzling that you hear when it comes to your table. This butteriness is what you taste when you put a piece of Pizza Hut pan pizza in your mouth back in the day. And this is what we're looking for to recreate. Now that right there is it. Ooh, I can't wait to taste that. Are we ready? We're gonna cut. There it is. Ah, look at how pillowy it is. But you've got your browned crust on the bottom. Should be able to see that. It's hot as hell. You got the toppings on top and then that Parmesan herby crust. Time to taste. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It really is just like it. This, you guys, is a pan pizza. And what we used to eat when we would go to Pizza Hut back in the day. This is it. If you want to create this at home, this is it right here. Wow. This is so good. And I'm just giddy that I was able to make this at home. I had so much fun recreating the personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut for you. If you like it, take a moment, subscribe to this channel, and then make this at home for yourself. I'm Tara the Foodie, and I will see you next time.